everyone, I am Rebecca from ChemKnits, and it's time to leave no dye behind. I have some leftover water with a lot of vinegar, not exactly sure how much, and I just put in 2 skeins of dry hawthorne fingering weight yarn, which is 80% superwash fine Highland wool, 20% polyamide. And we're gonna dye these 2 skeins with a ton of leftover dyes that we have around. I've got some, what I think is some food coloring of unknown origin. I have no idea what this is from. Oh, maybe it's leftover Kool-Aid? I guess I'll find out when I open it. And then a lot of random saved acid dyes from various different projects that are in small bottles that I saved. And I don't really know what's in them because I didn't label them. So we're gonna throw a lot of stuff on this yarn and see what we come up with. I just turned the heat on. Am I recording? Yep. Let's see what I think is in here. Okay, I don't think it's Kool-Aid because it doesn't really smell like Kool-Aid. Ooh, look at that color! I have no idea what this is from. No idea what this is from, but I like it. I'm assuming that this is some kind of food coloring, but I could definitely be wrong. Could definitely be wrong, which would be a shame. As I go and add this to most of the yarn. Man, I wonder what the video this came from. I honestly cannot remember. Oh my gosh. This was gonna bother me. So I'm glad I went and I looked at some of my stuff that is like requires me to come and, you know, that needs editing, and this probably came from when I was doing a bunch of B-roll in a live stream a few weeks ago. So, alright, I figured out what this is from. It's pretty old, but not that old. And now, let's pull some acid dyes of unknown origin. I grabbed a lot of leftover bottles. I know one has some forest green, one is peacock blue, one is, I believe, some brilliant yellow, one is, ooh, this is, I think that this is pink, leftover from something, but it could be, I suppose it could be Tangelo, but I don't think so. And then I've got one that's almost full of, I don't know what this is, and another one that is like a purpley color, and again, I'm not really sure what that is. So, let's just sort of look and see, shall we? Here's an unknown one. Ooh, that's a cool purple. Ooh, or is it navy? I think this one is navy, because it looks purple in the bottle until like it interacts. Okay, so that one is navy. And so what's in here? What's in here? Is it like, it's like a purple. I think that this one is from mixing a lot of leftover stuff together. But, alright, I'm gonna put the pink away. I know that the pink isn't really going to go with what I'm going for here. I am going to use a little bit of this yellow though. I think that that will give us some like coolness. I am going to also reduce the heat. And let's do some of this. Was it forest green or spruce green? Cool. I like that we started off with this color already here. And then this one is like a mystery, random mystery purple. I really enjoy doing these like random color layers videos and stuff. It's something that I enjoy a lot. And something that I found is that the colors actually end up a lot more muted after the fact. So it's made me feel like I can really go a little bit harder than what I might have done otherwise. But I think this is our navy, sort of adding some of it on there. I don't mind if a little bit white sticks behind. I think that this has some fun elements to it. I really like what these colors are doing. I don't know. This is really exciting me. I want to see how much the colors have absorbed. Okay, I'm going to flip it. And there is still some color in there, but again, I am okay with that. I don't mind if some of that navy sort of ends up going all over. I think that, you know, we're just adding colors mostly randomly on top of one another. Part of me wishes that I had had this teal all over. I think that it's a bit of a shame that I didn't. And haha, one bottle done. This is some of the goal here, to use up some of these leftover colors. And I'm adding just a tiny bit of this to the edge, bringing some more sort of greens in there. Actually, what would happen by... Interesting. But it's funny because the colors look so intense when you first add them. And oof, the turquoise aside, I really like what's going on down here. But I feel like a lot of times when I don't start with a color on there, I go real light, and that I end up wishing that I had given it a little bit more. And so I am really excited. There's our navy. And the fun thing about this is that we end up with these random, very much non-repeating colors. And this is very, very green based. I go for purples a lot, but this one is feeling very, very green. And I'm glad that like I have been adding a fair amount of color down on this other end. But I'm also sort of enjoying having this be this stream of consciousness dyeing versus like going and waiting and then coming back. So like adding the color on and then again sort of flipping it around and then seeing if there's places where I wish I had more color, like over here and around here. And so now I can sort of micro go into areas and add color as I want. And I think that there's just something fun about that. Add a bunch of blue. I just really, really genuinely enjoy these pops of color. And there's enough acid in here that things can strike relatively quickly. This is looking real fun right now. Whereas, okay, I think this is the navy. and I might end up in a moment flipping it again. This is the random purple. And I'm doing these crisscrosses, which might look weird, but because the yarn is sort of arranged so randomly in there that it ends up not being that weird. And some of these colors I know also are fairly dilute. They're not these aren't all like 1% stock solutions or something. So there's that consideration as well. I really, really like using these nylon zip ties. I really, really like using them. I think that they make it so much easier to just flip the yarn, move it around. Whew. I mean, this is looking so good. And as I move it, like there aren't these super dark patches that like you see from just when I add the color. And so that's why I'm keeping on going. I don't know when to stop. But I guess the other thing about going in these random directions, that's one of the things that is going to give this the non-repeating sort of random quality. And sort of give that a minute, but then I just keep on moving it, keep on moving it, keep on grooving it, and we just keep layering these colors and looking for spots that might want more. And I just have to say, I am loving this more and more and more. I am so glad that I've got 2 of them. I am just sort of using up the rest of this forest green now. Oh, I'm so happy I had that yellow in there. And at this point, I've been layering so much on here that it doesn't really matter as much that I didn't have color on that other end. I want to move these ties. Because I think the one thing I don't really want in here, is for there to be like a lot of white left over. Oh goodness, this is so fun. I've been going for like 11 minutes just randomly applying color here, and I'm having an absolute blast. Here's this mystery color. I have no idea what you are. I think that you are a mixture of a bunch of things, but all right, I think this is pretty good. And it's funny because you can, I guess maybe you can't see in the corners, but the peacock blue definitely crashes out, which is why I didn't make a big stock solution of it. And I think if you shake the bottle, you can see on there the particles of it. But so sometimes they go in and you can watch them dissolve, and it's just nice and fun. All right, let's see. Moving this again. This is something that would be really hard to do with food coloring on its own, and it's something that works so well because these colors are striking so fast. And oh my gosh, I just love this. I love just layering them on top of each other, and I think that starting off and picking colors that you know will not really get muddied and that will just add dimension makes it that much more fun. I'm going to take off my gloves and bring you a little closer. I'm not sure that you guys are able to appreciate the depth and multitude of all these tones as they are on the yarn. Like, this is very much a multicolored yarn, but there is a subtlety to it because we've let these colors layer on top of each other, and we've got these really deep specks and some lighter ones, and I think it'll give us this really cool non-repeating colorway. But anyway, I'll be back. I'm going to reduce the heat a little more, and I'll be back in 15 minutes. There is really only one bad thing about this yarn, and that is that I'm not going to be able to easily reproduce it because I had that mystery purplish bottle of acid dyes that I think were a bunch of things mixed together. The mystery food coloring that was that beautiful teal color from the beginning. Oh yeah, that water is clear. and then a lot of other things at unknown concentration. But I am now going to turn off the heat, but I'm going to leave the yarn in here to cool enough so that way we can wash it. But oh man, I am so excited with how this has come out. This is, you know, I think it's fairly obvious now that this is one of my favorite techniques. I just love the results of these small patches of color that interplay and overlap. And yeah, I hope that, you know, you can enjoy the just tossing everything in and seeing what happens. Let's wash our yarn. This is a beautiful saturated one. And again, I'm just so excited that I kept layering the color on more and more and more. I think that it is absolutely delightful. I'm now going to add a little bit of some clear dish soap. Sometimes I will see some bleeding after I add some soap, sometimes not. So yeah, that water is clear. I am now going to rinse out all the soap, remove the zip ties, hang the yarn to dry, and I'll come back and we'll have some conclusions. Ooh-wee. This yarn is, it is perfect. I love a good teal. It's one of my favorite colors, one I love to wear, one I love to dye, but I just love the flecks of yellow, which give it more of a brighter grass green. The navy, some of the navy comes off as navy, but then you have like forest greens and blues and all of these tones through the yarn on both of the skeins. When I started with that teal food coloring that was random left over, one of the ends didn't have color. And you can see some of the segments maybe that had less of that food coloring, but we've also layered so much dye that, it's just great. I would absolutely call this a non-repeating colorway. There are elements that repeat, but these other colors are just so random. This was such a fun case of not needing to stop, and you can just keep going and adding more and more color. And things didn't all sort of mud together. You still have a lot of dimension and tones in here that are just really pretty. The difference you get from adding more and more color is that you are increasing the level of saturation. And I think that that is something that I have missed when I've done this kind of layering technique in the past. I've been afraid of losing some of these layers of colors, so maybe I stopped adding color sooner, but 10 out of 10, I'm doing more of this in the future. There are only a few things about this project that I would consider a bummer. One is that this was done with leftover dyes. I have no idea about the proportions of different colors that led me to this colorway. Sure, I might be able to come up with something close. I know some of the elements here, but you know, this is really just a one-of-a-kind thing. Even if I got close, I wouldn't ever get something exact. I don't have a recipe here. In this video, we dyed 2 skeins of Knit Picks Hawthorne yarn at the same time in the same pan. However, this is a kind of colorway that I would say has no dye lots. There are probably differences between the 2 skeins, and if you were to do a project with both and abruptly change from one to the other, you might notice a difference because one of them might have more of the yellow than the other. The elements of this randomness can create subtle differences between the two, even though they are the same colorway. Therefore, if you wanted to use both of these in one project, I would recommend alternating skeins every couple of rounds. That way they're mixed together a bit more. I am Rebecca from ChemKnits, and thank you so much for joining me for another version of Leave No Dye Behind. I truly had no idea what was in that food coloring and had to go back and look at my editing queue to figure out where that food coloring had even come from. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. If you enjoy my approach and want to support us on another level, make sure you check out the ChemKnits Patreon. Patrons get early access to a new yarn dyeing video every month, and also there are a bunch of other perks that you can choose from. You can find links in the video description and iCard. The ChemKnits Creations Etsy store is filled with yarn that I've dyed in the videos here on this channel. While I can't guarantee that these 2 skeins will still be left in the shop, there are over 100 skeins of hand-dyed yarn that you can buy and then watch me dye it all over again while you are turning it into a fabulous product. Thank you so much for watching.